So in the build-up to the World Cup, there is one big question for England really, and that is, will Eddie Jones pick Danny Cipriani? Hi guys, welcome back. So, Danny Cipriani, what a question. Everyone's asking about it. Will he be picked for the squad or not? So, I'm going to give you my take on what I think the situation is and why he might or might not be picked. So first, a bit of background. I mean, Danny Cipriani, I believe, is one of probably the most talented English fly half of his generation. I watched him when he was young and he was absolutely phenomenal. Skills-wise, physically, he had everything, and he did play for England a bit early on and was looking the real deal. You know, things happened off the pitch which we can't really comment on because we don't know exactly what had happened, so I'm not really going to speculate on things that happened off the pitch, although things did obviously. But what could we see on the pitch that was maybe a bit of a weakness in Cipriani's game? You know, definitely worth mentioning, he did pick up a nasty injury, leg injury, ankle injury I think, that did set him back. But he also had a couple of issues on the pitch, and you know the main one really was his defence. In his early years, putting it bluntly, he didn't really like putting his body on the line. And you can watch his early games and you can see it. Some of the tackle attempts were pretty cringy really, the old swing door tackle, not really wanting to commit, and it was an issue. So that issue with his tackling, plus the off-field stuff, plus breaking his leg or his ankle, and it really culminated in him kind of slipping off the edge a bit, moving to Australia. I watched some of his games in Australia and he still seemed to have that issue with defence, some really poor attempt at tackles which weren't really attempts at all. But then, I think the turning point for him really was when he came back to Sale. Now, I don't know whether it was Steve Diamond who really sorted him out or whatever it was. He is a no-nonsense sort of guy, but he sorted out his tackling immensely. His tackling was so much better ever since him coming back to England and Sale in particular. If you guys know any more about that, let me know, but it seemed to coincide with when he met Steve Diamond. And now I would say he's probably the best creator of space, the variety and range of his passes and the delay in some of his passes is the best in the Premiership in England, with George Ford kind of probably closest to rivalling him on that. So, why wouldn't you pick him for the World Cup? Now he's sorted his defence, he's playing in the form of his life with the variety of attacking game he's got. Why wouldn't you pick him? Okay, so let's talk about the number one spot at fly half for England. And many say Cipriani's the best fly half, he should be number one. But the reality is, Farrell is number one. He's the goal kicker, he's been there for a long time, he's performed very well for England, plus he's the captain now, so he is not going anywhere. I mean, he might move to 12 in certain occasions, but number one fly half is sewn up, so that spot for Cipriani is out. Okay, so the next big question really on whether Cipriani goes to the World Cup is, how many fly halves is Eddie Jones going to take to the World Cup? Now, if you've seen my video, how to select a World Cup squad, you'll see I'm very much keen on taking 3 fly halves, but they might take 2. So, if you take 2, it's probably going to be Ford and Farrell, because Ford and Farrell have been working together for so long. I mean, Farrell was going to go anyway, but it would seem odd to break up that Ford-Farrell partnership that works really, really well. They know each other inside out. They've been in the England system for a long time. The leadership works. I mean, it would take a lot to break that up. So if it's a 2 fly half to the World Cup, you'd have to be sure that Cipriani was so much better than Ford, it's worth breaking that up. And the thing is, Cipriani's playing the season of his life, but then George Ford is actually playing really, really well as well. Plus, he's got all that money in the bank, if you like, for England. I just can't see how that's going to override. So if they pick 2 fly halves, I can't see him going. They might pick 2 fly halves because Henry Slade's, I think, definitely going to go to the World Cup, and he is a very good 10. I think his Twitter handle's Slady10 or something like that. He's played 10 for England under-20s and Exeter. So he's a decent option, actually, as a backup 10. You could potentially, if they take Lazowski as a centre, again, he's a 10 by trade as well. So they might take 2 fly halves. In fact, my sneaky suspicion is they will take 2 fly halves. I would take 3, as I said in my videos before, but if they do take 2, Cipriani, I don't think will go. So if England take 3 fly halves to the World Cup, I think Cipriani actually has an excellent chance of going. You know, many people think, oh, Jones is not going to pick him, but he tends to do that. He doesn't pick someone, then all of a sudden out of the blue, he will pick them. And he is in contact with Cipriani. I think he does rate his game. It's that chemistry he's just not too sure about. So let's think about it. If Cipriani goes as a third choice fly half, he's a really good replacement for Farrell as number 1 if Farrell gets injured. He is an alpha male. He will absolutely boss that team. I'm not saying Ford can't do it, but you know, if you wanted to say, right, Cipriani, you're running the show, he would do it. So that's a great option to have. Conversely, he's an excellent impact 10 as well if you want to change the game, chase the game potentially, or look for extra tries. You know, he would fit the bill really, really nicely. Now, of course, the question is social cohesion. Would that team be disrupted with Cipriani? Now, surely I don't think he would jeopardise his big chance to play in a World Cup by mucking up the team ethos. And also, if you think about kind of group dynamics and also, you know, research into that area, your team cohesion around the task is much more important than social. Sure, it's great to get along with players, but there's been many successful teams in sport that actually haven't got on that well off the pitch, but on the pitch they're just so focused on winning and being the best and the task, which is the World Cup, that it doesn't really matter. So, you know, I don't think that's a factor for a short-term thing like the World Cup. I really don't. Plus, if you think who else is there that could go as a third choice, I really think Marcus Smith's the only guy who rivals Cipriani as third choice. I don't think Marcus Smith is quite ready. He'd do fine, but you know, he's 20, he's got many years in the tank. I think it would be much better for Marcus Smith to actually put him into the England team after the World Cup and then let him build up to his peak for the next World Cup potentially. So yeah, if they take 3 fly halves, I think Cipriani should go. I think he will go. And if they take 2 fly halves, I don't think he will go. Should he go though? That's a really good question. Anyway, guys, that's my take on the situation. I would love to know what you think about it. If you think he should be number 1, if he shouldn't go at all, if he should go as number 2 and they should drop Ford. Be very interesting to hear. You know, it's probably not a right and wrong answer, but you know, it is definitely a point of interest. Cool. Anyway, until the next video, guys, I will see you later.